All right, so if you're just tuning in, we're discussing gender equality and safety, and we're asking how can we re-engineer the minds of our men. So let's focus now on the workplace. We talked a little bit about relationship, but let's focus on the workplace. I need us to be able to help people. I mean, sexual harassment is something we see every single day as women. In case you do not know, now you know. All right, so tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow, or you send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So, Dan, let's go back to the men. You are a man, right? How would you address a fellow man? You see a lady at work, she's attractive, she's all sexy, like, Elsie, looking poyoyo, And of course, well, two things. Let me paint the perfect scenario. You are single, right? You're not a married man. Unlike the cases that we saw or we read on the Twitter. You're a single man. I mean, you're allowed to date. And you meet an Elsie. How do you approach an Elsie that is your colleague at work? Let's also add that you are her superior and you like her and you would love to date her.
It's a dicey situation because one needs to be very careful because a thin line between pursuing your passion and crossing the line. So hi, hello, and then you read her countenance, she's smiling, she's not smiling, maybe there's pressure, and then you need to just let her be. But most people don't understand body language, especially men don't understand body language. And then there's the man code and the things they share amongst themselves that, look, you have to keep pressurizing. Not knowing that when you're pressurizing, it's a thin line between pressure and you becoming a nuisance.
Yes.
Harassing her. And harassing her. So you need to be very careful. Very, very careful. And being a boss, it's, puts another twist to it. Because you can now want to enforce that
power balance.
I'm your boss. You shouldn't give me attitude. Because I'm your boss, if I talk to you, you should respond. No. I mean, that is crossing the line. As a gentleman, you should, be attentive and understand her mood and make sure that she's not saying, oh, okay, I would meet you or I would give you my number because you're my boss. But because she sees that you are a gentleman and probably she's crossed some things on her list as per the kind of man she wants to be with, because that's another kettle of fish entirely. Most men would not want to look at it from that angle, that she should have a list of the kind of person she wants to be with. She's a human being and she has, preference. So if you don't fall in that range, probably because I'm a boss, I have a pot belly, and Elsie
bosses these days, they don't have please, they have six-pack. They have a perfect picture.
So, there are offices that actually prohibit dating, like it is not allowed. And there are some that make it clear, if you two want to date, there has to be a form where both of you consent to say, I am dating Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so is dating this, I am not under duress, I am not under pressure, everybody signs. So if the story is flying out of the window tomorrow, the HR will bring out paper to say, you people agree to this, there is nothing we can do. However, I'm taking all this away from marriage and workplace, and I'm really bothered about a man just behaving decent. Whether it's at work, at home, or relatives. See, people, I've had conversations in the bus and they will tell you, I get your type for house, waiting they do you, right? Which is what you're talking about, bringing what he's talking about in the home and then taking it outside to. We've had conversations where we mentioned the idea that some men think that they are entitled to women's body. So they have to tell you how to dress. Your dressing has to conform to what makes them comfortable. Your attitude, your walking, everything you do, the way you sit, it just has to conform to what they think. So going back to upbringing, which you've mentioned over and over again, how do we begin? If we say it's today, I know some people have started, but if we say we're starting today to start raising better men, what would you advise intending parents, new parents, parents of now to do to ensure that we have better men in the society?
Okay, at least before the raising, we already have men out there who their mindset is already
Maybe
toxic.
it's hard to change them. Let's start from...
They are dry fish. You can't solve their problem.
Dry fish, if you put them inside water, it will soak.
I go soak, but if you know bend well.
You know? You know, because I'm saying this because
I think you are being hopeful that even for the men that have gone astray, they can be
yes, they can. You know, some of us, we had gone astray because of our upbringing. You know, but in now getting married and now meeting ladies, you need to have a different orientation to help. So that's where training comes in. And going back to the workplace, there needs to be that training and retraining for just men, to tell them what your mindset that you brought here, hang it at the ghetto. And then let them know that, look, there are consequences. If you refuse, if you want to continue in this line, this is what will happen. But just in case you know you have issues, you can deal with it. You can have a change of mind and then do things differently. Be respectful, you know, understand the woman and then respect her, not because she's fine, or respect that beauty to start with. And then, you know, treat her like she's a queen. Because I tell people, in every human being is a king, a queen, and a fool. The one you talk to responds to you. You don't talk to a king anyhow. You don't talk to a queen anyhow. But when you talk to a fool will respond to you. You know, so it's training, is, you know, orientation, and then the man, we need to sit them down and help them see differently outside just the body of the woman. That the woman too has brain. A lot of them are very, very intuitive. And that's one thing that most men don't have, intuition. And that's what makes the woman extra special. It's an app that is only in the women. So it's how you relate with them. That's what will determine how much of that you are going to get. You know, so when you help them see that the woman is not just about her body.
She's beyond sex.
She's beyond sex. She can think. She has ideas, wonderful ideas. You know, there are ideas that my wife has given me that has taken us, you know, very far. I downplayed it before. But having had to sit down and say, okay, let's give it a try. And the trial, things just started happening. You know, so we need to help them begin to see women from a different pedestal.
Maybe they see one woman, the one where they their house, not in the office.
I was going to talk about, so we've talked a lot about re-engineering. Whose responsibility is it?
It's everybody.
You know, because when people, we're just talking behind cameras and say, some women have even come to accept it because that's for centuries. That's the way it's been on. And why we don't see ourselves as winners, because according to some people, a man will always cheat. A man would always be a man. So how do we begin to raise boys? And how do we begin to change it? Who is responsible at every level? Who would do this work?
And raising the child now.
I think it's all hands on deck, both the mother and the father. And then you need to be intentional and deliberate about what the child is exposed to part time. Like what I do, I have a daughter. She's going to be 9. And I try to do debriefing each time she comes back from school. So what happened in school today? So she runs, you know, by me, everything that went on. And then I pick out things and I say, no, this is what is right. Don't join them in doing this. Rather, you should speak out against things like this. You know, so, and the areas where I see that she goofed or followed the bandwagon, you know, so it's all hands on deck. I'm doing mine, the mom too, and then, you know, grandma when she comes around, and, you know, the conversation. So it's all hands on deck. It's not just a particular party that should. But then again, it's important that there is the willingness to want to be at that space of becoming better, having better relationship at the workplace and also at home.
Wow, that's deep. Because for me, I'm seeing the society at play. For example, what do we do in schools? You know, is the curriculum, and for me, I like, you know, having that deep thought. Now, if you go to boardrooms, how many women are sitting on the table? Because let's say even if you have trained yourself as a female, everybody's behaving well, what is the organization saying in terms of promoting women, in terms of having women make decisions? Because I feel that it affects.
True.
We get also, how many lawmakers are women? So in even talking, I feel that the society has a role to play. The government has a role to play. Organizations, the media, everyone has a role to play because it's been centuries of damaging. It is centuries of, and I don't see gender equality quelling in the next 50 years.
In Nigeria, man.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere.
But just to buttress your point, I mean, you're going higher, lawmaker, boardroom. You notice that when there is a meeting in the office,
Family,
like
okay.
just office meeting, and someone has to take minutes, they always look for the lady. Take minutes now. What help us write minutes? Like
She's always the
seeing that
secretary.
is you don't even have to be the secretary. They expect that
You
it
know
is
what?
the
I
lady.
never, like,
and for me deliberately, I never do it. If nobody else will take this minutes, let all of us sit down here.
I think I've been fortunate to be in organizations where this is not the case because I'm struggling to think about it. I've been fortunate to be in organizations where the minutes are distributed between male and female, anyone. So it's not particular. But what you said is really, I can think about it now in some meetings outside my organization. Yes, it is a female that is good to be secretary. Yeah, and not president.
And
Except
it's a
the woman
subtle
club.
conditioning.
It is.
It's a very subtle conditioning. So how do we, where do we start from, in terms of, because women's safety is also important. We've talked a lot about equality. Women's safety. I remember the story that AK talked about, the young girl. I mean, that girl for me, she was the example of a girl that was well informed as to how to protect herself. She fought a kidnapper that came at her with a knife, and, for me, that was really brave, an 11-year-old girl. You talked a little bit about your daughter. So if we were going to talk to the girls, what do you think, what would you recommend, for us to start safeguarding ourselves against rape, against kidnapping, against, bullying, against, all this undue, this kind of subtle signals that a man will come and you would, so those red flags, how do we?
But I know why I'm shaking my
Why are you
head.
shaking your head?
Because we can never protect ourselves enough if the men don't change.
If they don't join
I
in.
think there was a video that you shared. I don't know if we shared that video on the group where boys were in a train station and they were just harassing girls. They were kicking them. They kicked one girl and she fell in the train tracks and it was a joke. It was a joke to them until that happened. So I'm just thinking, are we ever going to protect ourselves enough? Are we?
Because we keep telling the girl child, behave this way.
We are not
talk
the
this
danger.
Way,
We're
watch
not.
this way,
It's not.
do this, and
Yes.
it's just two gender that is in this country. It's just two.
No, there are days.
In this country, I did not say in the word. Please, legally speaking.
So then help
This
us. What do
country.
you say? Me, I still feel that there's still something I can do for myself to protect myself. I
Well,
don't know.
there is.
Okay, so
Should we
we've
be
said
a
a whole
lot
lot.
more vocal,
Yeah, vocal, yes, but then again, let's empower the girl child. How do I mean? Aside from teaching her, my daughter takes taekwondo lessons. Because so empower. Okay, there was a story I heard. A young lady in the army was, walking past with her uniform, as in full regalia with her pistol and everything. And there were guys on that route. Nobody said a word.
How? The no see military.
She went back, changed into mini, and was looking very ladylike, sweet, and then catcalling started. So it's not like the men, they know what they're doing. It is the vulnerable they're looking for. So if as a lady you are not in that space of vulnerability, you stand out. And most women don't want to be in that place where they stand out because they feel they are alone and they don't want to be alone.
They don't want to be told that they are difficult.
Yeah, or different.
Sorry to interrupt, but there have been a situation where the women that stood alone and were difficult were the ones that were attacked because they wanted to humble them. I've had situations where they say she's feeling like she's too strong, so we have to rape her so that she's humble. So I don't think that there is. Yes, we need to defend ourselves, but I still think the problem is with the men because whatever direction you're strong, you're too strong. You hear it. So when a woman
we
is,
agree with you. What we are saying is
so-
there are so many women who do not understand the steps that
Yes,
they need
I
to take,
do.
at least first, before we get to the situation of them trying to humble you for being different and difficult. So maybe he can give them those steps so that they can understand that they need to speak out, they need to train, whatever it is you're doing with your daughter and all that.
And of course, the way you carry yourself and relate with people also goes a long way. If you are being saucy, if you are being rude, you know, it draws more bad energy towards you. But you are firm and at the same time polite, you know. It's
There's too many things that I don't agree with. I am so
See, you
sorry.
don't understand.
Yes, because
See, I've
none
done
of it gives you
firmness,
the
I've
right.
done politeness.
Thank
Politeness,
you.
the way we mistake it that you are being.
Exactly.
You
These
don't understand.
things
Like,
don't work.
I think I
You are
would.
trying to seduce them.
Do you understand?
I
So
know
you
that.
know, for me, that's why I keep a straight face. Honestly, when I walk into the room, people say that I do that deliberately because if I try to be friendly with you, the way I would normally be polite with every other person, people
It is
misread
seen as
it,
green
so
light.
So
that's why
just the face front.
That's why I'm saying this problem is not a female problem, it's a man problem.
So you talk to your men in 1 minute, because it's
yeah.
a man problem.
Well, as a man, it's not complete without a woman, and respect is very, very important, very, very important. And the way you see the woman, it's also a reflection of who you are. So if you're a strong man, you would respect that lady and even help her in any way possible. That's what makes you a real man. Because we are men so as we can protect and guide. So,
Absolutely.
as a man, if you are not speaking out for any lady or your wife or someone around you, then the manliness in you is being questioned.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sure, you heard it too. It's
The
not from us.
manliness in you is being
It's
questioned.
from a man. All right, so I just wanted to quickly mention that the Chief of Army Staff, Ibrahim Atahiru, and 7 others, there's a report that they died in a plane crash in Kaduna. This is really sad. It's a developing story, so we'll monitor it. We don't know the cause of the plane crash, but I mean, it's sad. All right, so we have one comment from Rafael Akori. Let me quickly take it before I run. According to Sankara, according to Sankara, inequality can be done away with only by establishing a new society where men and women will enjoy equal rights. Thus, the status of women will improve only with the elimination of the system that exploits them. Thank you, Rafael Akori from Zaria. That's the only comment we can take because we've run out of time. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much, Dan Akpata. We had fun. I feel like bring you for let's talk marriage matter.
Yeah, we have to do that.
All right, so Ways was birthed from the need to inform, inspire, and influence lives towards action. And this year, we started our CSR focus on curbing unemployment in Nigeria. So if you are a company, please partner with us by allocating internship slots. And if you're a job seeker, keep watching Ways and follow us on all our social media handles, as this will be an all-year-round engagement. So tell your friends to keep all eyes on Ways. Now, in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. Elsie, are you going to help me out with it?
Equality is not a concept. It's not something we should be striving for. It's a necessity. Equality is like gravity. We need to stand on this earth as men and women, and the misogyny that is in every culture is not a true part of the human condition.
Absolutely. So you heard it from the guest as well. Thank you again, ladies, and it's going to be a fantastic weekend. We'll see you live on Monday at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.